Hey guys, Athena Concannon here, and for those of you who don't know me, I am a certified personal trainer and a nutrition and lifestyle transformation coach. I help time-strapped and busy women who are driven and ambitious take their fitness from fine to fabulous. So that means really feeling confident and strong and energized in their bodies. It means staying consistent with their healthy habits for the long haul, and it means stepping into their most empowered self. Now, when you are operating day to day as your best self, you aren't letting outside circumstances get the best of you. You don't feel stuck. You don't feel like you're settling for the status quo. Instead, you feel like you have a say in your own health. You feel proud of how you're choosing to move your body day to day or how you're choosing to eat. And you really do feel in control. Even during those seasons of life where things get busy, you feel like you have it together during both the ebbs and the flows. Now, a lot of the women that I work with, and myself too, we identify as perfectionists. And I just want to say that perfectionists, we have a lot of amazing qualities that allow us to be successful. So we're organized, we like to get shit done, we value quality work and quality outcomes, but our perfectionist mentalities can be the very obstacle that gets in the way when life throws us curveballs, right? When things come up that are out of our control. So what do I mean by that? Maybe there are social settings where you don't have, or you feel like you don't have full control over the food that's going to be there. Or maybe you are traveling and you're not sure what equipment's going to be available for you to get the workout in that you want to do. Or maybe it's a busy season, your kid's soccer schedule is ramping back up and your usual routine is going to be interrupted. So we tend to get a little bit stressed about this because if we're not in full control, we're nervous that the outcome won't live up to our usually high standards. So you can see where having high standards isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it can work against us if we're not careful. Okay, so these are the exact kind of situations that I just went over that leave us potentially struggling with that all or nothing mentality, because if we can't do it perfectly, right, then we don't do it at all. And this is what usually leads to periods during the year where we're on or off, like on the wagon, off the wagon. Maybe our weight is up and down, or we just feel better or worse throughout the year. So as a coach, something that I like to do with my clients is, first of all, make sure that we set realistic expectations when setting out to achieve our goals. And one of those expectations that I set up front is that we cannot expect that our healthy habits are going to be exactly the same year round. 365 days of the year. It's just not realistic, it's not doable, and it really doesn't set us up again with those realistic expectations. If you think about it, our schedules are never the same 365 days of the year. What we're doing at work or what activities we have going on in our personal lives aren't the same 365 days of the year, and our goals might change throughout the year too, and they should. We can't really be, for example, in a fat loss mode 365 days of the year. It just doesn't work. So once we accept these shifts as pretty normal and we view them as not failures, once we honor these different seasons and we can start planning for them, it's a game changer. This is when the all or nothing mentality doesn't necessarily get the best of us anymore, because we're realizing we're actually in more control than we think we are. So let's go through an example of this using your workouts and your training as the example. And I'm going to go through a tool. It's one of my favorite tools to use with my clients, and it's called the Seasonal Success Matrix. It's how you plan for those ebbs and flows throughout the year and really get yourself set up for success. Okay, so you're going to go through on the matrix the 4 categories. First, there's 4 questions that you want to think about. Okay, the first is, when do you anticipate your busiest seasons at work? So if you're a teacher, for example, you're likely ramping up in the September timeframe. Kids are back to school, you've got parent-teacher conferences, that's not the time to also ramp up on a fat loss goal. Or if you're an accountant, tax season is probably not the time where you are scheduling 5 to 6 workouts that are in the gym, working on, say, building muscle to your like biggest extent during that time. It just doesn't make sense. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you probably don't want to plan for summer when the kids are at home to be the time that you are going gung-ho all out. Okay, the next question or the next category is to do the same. Anticipate when the busiest seasons of your personal life are going to be. That might be the same year to year, but it might look different year to year, and that's okay. So an example of this, maybe in the spring, you have a lot of bridal showers, bachelorette parties, and in June, you have a lot of weddings that are going to be on the weekend. That time frame is not the time frame to expect to be going all out with your workouts or choosing to be in a fat loss mode. Maybe you put a fat loss mode before that time frame, and then during that spring and June, you're focused on maintenance and you're okay with that. Okay? So think about other things that might come up. Your house renovations, maybe you're moving, maybe your in-laws are visiting, anything like that, right in that category 2 box, okay? Category 3, and these answers might be pretty similar to 1 and 2, is what time of year has historically thrown you off in the past and why? I want you to really think about that because we're going to use that information to empower us to make change rather than get stuck in that same cycle over and over. I'll share an example of a client of mine. She would have a work period in November that would really get very, very busy. So for her, that was the time of the year that would throw her off track. And into December when the holidays would hit. This left her feeling every year in January that she was starting all over from scratch. It seemed like very daunting to get back into the swing of things. And every October she'd get a little bit nervous and stressed because she knew that this was coming. So you see how that's a cycle. What if instead of feeling like we have to be totally off, we can use that time and simply maintain instead of being balls to the wall? The 4th category here is what seasonal activities do you love doing that you want to prioritize? Another client of mine loves skiing and goes on a big ski trip in December. So for her, she plans her workouts ahead of that time frame, in the October-November time frame, to really have a leg focus. She does a lot of incline work to get those legs ready for the ski trip. Okay, so now you're kind of weaving in the activities you love doing as well. If you're somebody who likes to go on a lot of hikes and be outside in the summer, maybe prior to that you are ramping up your conditioning and you're not spending 4 days strength training in the gym. Maybe you're cutting that back down to 2. Okay, so you see how now you are really using the answers that you come up with in these 4 categories to empower you instead of feeling like some of these times of year are going to get the best of you. This is such a powerful shift because it leaves you trusting that you are in control of these ebbs and flows instead of the other way around, okay? Once you've gone through those 4 categories, I want you to then go through your months of the year. You can do it month by month, you can do it quarter by quarter, and keeping whatever your goals are in mind, I want you to start mapping things out. I want you to plug and play. All right, this is called organizing your training, and I want you to think of yourself like an athlete. Athletes do not train in the same way throughout their seasons. Their workouts look very different if they're in an off season versus a preseason versus their on season. And I want you to think of yourself in that same way and start mapping things out for you. So maybe in January, it always takes you a little bit of time to get back in the swing of things or feel on again after the holidays. Maybe you're tired. I know for me, that tends to be a busier season in my work because of the New Year's rush. So I don't really tend to set huge fitness goals for myself or really ramp up my workouts until maybe mid to end month. And so then maybe February, March, and April for me would be a strength focus where I'm really spending more time in the gym. And maybe May now becomes a deload where I scale back a little bit, give my body a break because our bodies can't handle that training stress. Again, the same 365 days a year. And in May, maybe I'm going to deload a little bit and then start ramping up some conditioning for summer, where I like to be outside, and I'm doing more fit on the go style workouts in the summer because I like to go away on weekends and be at the beach and not spend a lot of time inside during those months. Then fall might be ramping back up again. So you see how you can make this work for you. Now, it's really important to understand that your plan can change. There has to be flexibility with this, otherwise it defeats the whole purpose of the matrix in the first place. So think about yourself maybe in a similar way to how a CEO would map out and do projections for their income on a quarterly basis. Okay, there's no way that that CEO can predict 100% what's going to be coming in financially, but that CEO can take a look at the big picture, map it out, and then reassess and keep making things change if needed throughout the year. And you can do that too. Okay, so just like that biz owner would map out their income and leave flexibility in there, you're doing the same thing. You are always in control to move things around. If you're starting to use this tool and it's not January, don't freak out. Just start where you are and map it out. Even if you're only doing half a year, that's okay. The point of this is not to stress. The point is to empower you. And I'm telling you, my clients who use this tool, and myself too, I use it as well, they have had incredible success with their consistency. They don't feel on and off. They don't feel up and down. And when they don't have to worry so much about the times of year where they feel out of control, they show up in their lives more present. I know I do too. When I don't have to worry so much, I can be present as a mom. I can be present as a coach. I can be more present as a wife, whatever it is. And I can really be living with more joy moment to moment, rather than kind of having like, oh my God, I'm so off in the back of my head all the time. All right, so I encourage you to download the Seasonal Success Matrix. It is free. You can grab it in the link on this page and go through it. Set some time for yourself, go through it. Let me know what comes up for you, if you had any aha moments. And I really hope that this helps you with your consistency and with that all or nothing mindset as you tackle your fitness goals this year. Enjoy.